7 p.m. If everyone can stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I already gave us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's start with some audience introductions. Go ahead. Either I don't care, either end.
I'm Holden.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Grant.
Thank you, welcome. Let's move to approval of the agenda. We're gonna move items for board action for senior trip up to item number 4. We'll leave the other one where it is, Vanessa, and we'll just go back to board items for board action. So if we could do that and renumber.
Yep.
And then also under executive session, we'll do item A for the one that's there. Item B, we'll do ORS 1926602A. And this is to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent. So if we can add that
Yep.
also.
You can do that.
Any other agenda changes? Anyone have a motion on that one?
I'll move to approve the agenda with the changes.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. 3, we'll have a delegation of visitors. This is visitor or patron comments pertaining to items on the agenda for the current meeting, which they desire to give input to the board. Such unplanned comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 30 minutes of total discussion for any given item. Board policy requires school staff to channel communication through the superintendent prior to the board. Doesn't really apply to what you all are here for, so we will move to item 4. So item for board action, senior trip. Thank you, sir.
So, do I sit down or do I stand up?
You may do whatever.
So, overall 13 years at Prairiedale, it's been an incredible journey filled with camaraderie and personal growth. We've confronted challenges, navigated obstacles, and transformed into a more vigorous class and individual identity.
As we approach the end of our high school experience, we propose a senior trip to honor these unforgettable years. This trip will celebrate our success and create cherished memories we'll carry for a lifetime. Let's embrace this opportunity to make our final moments together truly special.
We're wanting to stay in Sun River, Oregon, on Blue Goose Road, 2 houses that are right across the street from each other. The boys would have a 3-bedroom, 4-bed, and 2-bath, and the girls would have a 3-bedroom, 5-bed, 2.5 bath.
And just to clarify, it says 4 beds and 5 beds, but there's enough room for everybody. There's bunk beds and everything. So
I think it's just counting like each bunk bed individual.
Yeah, I know Mrs. Richards said that they had enough spots according to.
and obviously who is the whole senior class, and we're not sure yet about the type of chaperones. That's to be determined. And then you guys can see that itinerary if you want to look at that. I'm assuming I don't need to go over that in detail, but and then for the cost, it's going to be for the boys' cabin. It's going to be $392 per night, so total that'll be $1,644. And then for the girls, it'll be $350 a night, so that'll be $1,541 total. And then I think the transportation, food, and spending money is all either coming up or put into the total already. It's already calculated into the total, I think. So if there's anything else you guys don't see in here or you have questions about, and obviously here's the senior trip contract with all the rules and consequences, which will be signed by everybody, every parent.
ask a question. If that's all right with you, Madam Chair here. So, you know, you're only at 3,200, let's say, which isn't, you know, horrible for lodging, but you got $4,000.
Yeah.
Which is not the most, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that'll pay for most of your food for a couple nights if you're just, you know, getting stuff to make there at the houses and not paying for a lot of other spending money, et cetera. But, you know, the double good popcorn sales, I sure hope you guys sell a lot. So,
Yeah, and we're gonna try to
I'm
do
a little
some.
concerned about that part.
We're gonna try to do some more fundraising also, and like maybe like I think we're talking about a bake sale and like a couple other things.
So there's some other ideas that come chat with us tomorrow. You know, I talked to Mrs. Richards about it. There's some other things that you can do that are probably like the popcorn thing. That is pretty remarkable how well that does. There's some
Last
other
year.
ideas that will probably be able to be a little bit better than doing the car wash bottle driving.
Mhm.
There's a little bit.
Faster.
You don't need to make a lot of money on those. So
Yeah,
you know, there's probably some other ideas that we can do that you can
Yeah.
make some funds a little bit quicker and more efficient.
for sure.
How much money do you guys have?
We have 4,033.
So 4,033, their total is 795, so they've got 840 remaining.
Not 850.
840. So how many beds are in each house actually?
So there's. You said there's the 4 bunk beds, right?
There's 3 sets of bunk beds, yeah.
So 3 for the boys. There's 3 sets of bunk beds, so that's 6, and then there's an extra just normal bed, and then there's obviously all the couches too. But there's only just me, Grant, Jordan, Braylon, and Gunner. So that's only and Jared.
Towers.
Oh, okay.
So there's enough room for the boys because we've got 1.
There's 5 guys.
Yeah, I think 5 guys. I'm pretty sure, unless I missed one.
Who's next?
There's 6.
6.
6,
And then
okay.
2 chaperones.
So that'll be enough room.
Where's the chaperones?
You probably would only need one male chaperone in that
Just one.
basically. And if you have 6 guys,
Yeah.
Mhm.
one house, it's.
There's
I think it's-
And I'll have to double check again in the ratio of the handbook, but I don't think you need to.
And I'm pretty sure it's either going to be the chaperone is either going to be DJ or his uncle. I think.
I believe in there it says it has to be a male staff member.
Mhm. Okay.
So unless your uncle is one of our male staff, in which case that could work, but, and I didn't know that. But I believe it does say male staff member, and
Okay.
there needs to be one on there.
That's
So,
what you're saying.
And then for the girls,
So is there a single bedroom for the chaperone?
There's 2 single bedrooms, the chaperone in the boys' house. There's 2 other bedrooms.
So there's more than 3 bedrooms?
There's 2 bedrooms.
like there's 1 bedroom that has the 4 bunk beds or
Oh.
3 bunk beds, and then there's 2 separate bedrooms also. So I don't know. This count is wrong. I don't know why I put it as that, but
Okay.
and there's obviously if we needed to, but we don't need to. There's couches also, but we don't need to do that. So
They're really comfortable.
yeah. And then the girls, we made sure that they had enough room. It seemed like these numbers are wrong for the beds, but we made sure they had enough room in that cabin also.
And
How
then
many girls are there?
There's 50.
12, and then 2 chaperones.
Is that 12 that are going, you're saying?
Yeah.
Rather than 17?
There are 12
think,
total girls.
I think 1 is not going to go. Miss Richards said, but we're not completely sure.
does it look like there's only 19 of you going, right?
Yeah.
19. But-
Counting
Chaperones?
No, I just was counting the names of who's on
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Well, yeah, with chaperone, because there's 18 of you.
Haley?
Oh,
Haley's going.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Haley is a junior, but she's graduating early, so she's also
Yeah.
going.
Who's going?
She was listed on she's part of that count though.
Okay.
Oh, I like that you guys are including her.
She comes on our advisory too. It's kind of cool.
What about the transportation? What are you planning?
For- I think we were gonna do either a bus or vans is what we were talking about. But I think just a bus, I would assume.
Minibuses.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with that. So with the minibus, again, you're gonna wanna make sure you figure out these chaperones sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to make sure that your chaperone
Can try to
can also do that at the minibus.
So
Because if they can, then that helps out with that situation. And that will be a process for them to make sure they go through it. It's not that hard. They just have to make sure they take the test and they have to make sure that they get that completed. So, but yeah, we have enough good buses now because we purchased the one and Midco has finally come through with some other newer, better ones. So we're in good shape for that. You don't want to rent buses. Or vans.
that'd be
Yeah.
a lot.
It's more you'd have to rent 2 12-passenger ones.
Yeah.
So that would not be what we want to do. Just more cost.
Yeah.
That's who doesn't want to drive in downtown Sun River with a beautiful minibus. I guess that's most people.
Fairchild.
Are you guys going to like estimate like how much or plan like your meals and
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
you're going
Yeah, I think
just depending on how much you raise for your fundraising?
yeah, it'll have to depend off of that. But I would assume we're gonna get like stuff to cook, and then we might go out a couple nights. But we might. I would assume we'll have to talk about it as a class, and see how much money we end up getting after we fundraise. But it'd probably be a lot cheaper to eat in most of the time rather than eat out. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, or like pizza or whatever.
I don't know if like the High Desert Museum or anything like that, if they do
So they can share.
discounts for
For like a
buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we could look into it.
Call and see if they would. And because those things are expensive.
I think they do if you plan it ahead. I know that we had to use that as a backup a few years ago, and we like showed up and we couldn't get the group right because we just showed up. So I think if you plan ahead,
Yeah.
then you can.
And the lava.
Yeah, and that one. I think it's like paying for parking. I think. Thank God we just did the hike to the top.
You guys are gonna go golfing, 2 golfs?
I've never golfed before, but I've done it like not like actually golf, but I don't know if anybody in our class actually like golfs.
I don't think
It
so.
sounds fun though.
They have mini golf.
Yeah, mini golf, yeah.
Thank God.
That's what you meant, right? Mini golf.
Gosh.
I wasn't sure what she meant. I was like,
No, that's
I
what
meant
you
real
guys
golf.
meant.
Yeah.
You guys meant mini golf, right?
Miss Richards.
Yeah, the Sun River courses are a great economical way to start your.
Right, yeah.
We'd be
That's
so,
sarcasm, gentlemen.
we'd be so
I know.
screwed.
yeah, I'd assume nobody's gonna actually go golfing, but
That's all right.
maybe snowboarding.
That was an option.
Apparently,
Yeah, the girls' house always expensive.
But we bring out our board.
Smart choice.
Also, stuff.
you take the edges. You take the edges. Same. So we're excited.
Oh shit. Yeah, now I've seen. I was thinking it was like
Yeah,
because
this is a good preliminary for sure.
Yeah, and we'll obviously be able to figure out more stuff once we like fundraise a little bit more.
So, yeah, in that position, then maybe figuring out like what your target is, you know,
Can you-
project to how much it's gonna
I
cost
think
for your
the
plan.
one, I mean, the one thing is they probably do need to get deposits down on
That's what I was
houses,
gonna
so
say.
I don't know.
I can see on the, I was just on it, I can see what they,
I'm not
Refund
opposed to approving their plan. All this means is that they're eating peanut butter and jelly and they don't get to do anything fun.
Yeah, if we don't fundraise more.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get to watch the grass.
I'm not locked in.
Hey, stay in the house, we fine.
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind of key.
but maybe come back with a,
Mhm.
like a report.
Just an update of
Mhm.
what's going on.
so next
maybe-
month might be a little tight, but just because they're gone this week and then you guys would have like a week and a half once we get back before you would have to, come back to the board. 2 weeks, I guess.
Does it need to be that soon? I don't know.
Like,
I would,
Well, that's what I'm saying, or it could be later on.
Let them get their
Yeah.
deposits,
like
they can come back.
I would like to make a motion to approve their plan as is with a update in April of your new budget and how you're doing.
I agree.
I agree with that.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you
There
guys.
you go,
Good
guys.
job.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've had our-
Yeah.
Maybe you guys do
Oh.
11 o'clock.
The girls' house, so that's a nice opportunity, that's not what the other ones are.
I do have a quick question, even though it's done. Are the two homes close by each other?
They're right across the street.
Okay, because
Oh,
the
that's
girls' house looks like it has a nice big living room. You guys can hang out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you about
We'll still all be good for
Okay, let's move to item 5A, reports.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
You too.
5A, reports, superintendent.
December's kind of tough, especially when music's getting all canceled and
Hey, you took one of mine.
I take one of yours every month.
Par for the course.
Couple.
Just get the ones that's due. There's just, there with holidays, et cetera, and not having a music program, et cetera, we had our conferences, which those were really well attended. We actually had some pretty good attendance from high schools, families as well this year. That's kind of hit and miss some years, so it was really nice to see that. K through 8 was, I'll let Chrissy hit on it more, but I was really pleased with that. So, as far as some of the other items, Food for All it's in a fog area right now as far as the look on Mr. Fairchild's face today. Having a young one at the house, plus doing the Food for All, he looked very lethargic today in class or in the meeting after school that we had, and but he's getting through it. So, and Mrs. Hanson's kind of the same way. They had a fair meeting after the school was out after our meeting today too. So if they can limp through this week a little bit and get going, that's great. I do want to say again, thank you to those two specifically. We have a field trip with options this Wednesday for students. They can either go to Knife River, the training center that's down in Lebanon. So we have a small bus going down there for students who are interested. And then someone to go do Wicked in Independence, which Chance Prudhomme, if you know who he is, he runs that theater there in Independence. And then some students are going to go help deliver some food with Hutch that day. And then probably Mr. Fairchild. What's that?
I'm not watching Wicked.
You're not going?
Not till the second one's available to watch. I
Oh,
said
okay.
it says Sam to make me wait a year.
There you go. So,
Just an intermission a year.
so it's kind of nice that we were able to do that, and really Mr. Fairchild and Mrs. Hanson were working with us on trying to get some other options for kids to do that we're not excited about necessarily going and seeing Wicked. So I felt pretty happy to have those options for the kids. And then local companies that have been kind enough to help truck the produce to our school and our partner schools. I won't name all those companies, but I know we have quite a few that have been doing it for a number of years. Thank you to those employees and companies that have been doing that for us. And then Central High School is taking on a large amount of food that they were packing this year. I believe 100,000 pounds they did this year. So we have a week to go and finish off strong. We do have people from the Ag Credit Service are coming tomorrow. I think we have I want to say we have about 15 coming tomorrow. They're gonna have lunch here with the kids, and the kids are gonna do some presentations with them. And it's gonna be kind of neat. They are doing a full court press with them. They're going to have flowers from the floriculture class. They're going to make lunch for them with our students that are in the food science and culinary group. They're going to be doing students that are in the plant science. There's just a bunch of stuff they're going to be doing from our CTE program, interacting with those folks. And they're going to be out here packing food during the day. So that's pretty outstanding. They're going to have a chance to do that. And then sports-wise, we have the winter sports, and our girls got a big win against Mapleton the other day. If you were there, they have a girl that can shoot the lights out. She was pretty amazing. Were you there? No, your husband was there. I don't know if you were there the other day. Or not, but-
I was there, I think, for the first half.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, that young lady was fantastic. Our girls won by 2, and they're doing really well. And boys taking. There was a close game the other night against Powers. That was a 2-point game, and it's a rebuilding year a little bit, but they're battling, and I appreciate that. They're sticking through it and trying. We have 4 teams this year, which we haven't had 4 teams consistently for quite a while. So that's been great that we have 4 teams and have enough kids out for that. Doing great, and Merry Christmas to all of you.
To elementary report.
Going back to the music program, it's unfortunate we're having to postpone. Kids are disappointed, families are disappointed, and of course, Mrs. Matthews is very disappointed. So we'll kind of see how that goes with the replanning of that. With that, it meant that we canceled the senior tea as well. And we probably will keep that canceled versus a postponing. However, we'll have one in the spring. So we look forward to that opportunity. And really the only other thing that wasn't already covered, the middle school went to the Oregon State women's basketball game 2 weeks ago. And that was another great, this is our second year to go, at least in recent time. And kiddos really enjoyed that. That's a good middle school trip for them. I think that's really everything.
Thank you. Erin, of the SPED report.
All right, we had a little jump in our numbers, finishing the speech evaluations is usually what does that. So we've got 39 students on IEPs. We've been doing lots of state reporting, enjoyed the law conference, and that's about it.
Right. Facilities reports, any questions or comments on that? That was a nice deal with Lexi.
I'm just laughing because the name, how many times I've heard the name.
I know.
See over the years.
Oh, I know.
Is it possible that the playground will have the cameras soon and the parking gates as far as facilities?
We do have cameras out there.
Are they working? Okay. And then the gates.
Yeah, we have the gates alive. You mean automatic gate?
Yeah.
So
We talked about that they would lock it
at
dusk
the
at dawn
dusk,
on
yeah,
non-school days.
talk with them. The quote they got for us on the back one was like $15,000,
Yikes.
14,000, I guess it was, the camera pointing out at those. So that was the difference to electrify that one and to do that. So we'll chat with them, but we may have to go with a different one because that was very cost prohibitive to have that amount. So we'll see if we can get one just on the timer itself and not necessarily anything else. We don't really need the camera box to zap them in, et cetera, for that part. But that was pretty astronomical.
I did notice the other day when I was going out, there was a TV on the wall in the weight room. I'm like, is that always been there? And then I read this and I was like, I don't know what's put that
So we
in.
did have one up there when it was a 5th grade classroom.
Okay.
It does get used a lot, but a lot of times they will go into other people's classrooms with their stinkage, I'll say. So it does get used a lot by our teams, and even during some of our weightlifting classes or during when they're
Yeah.
in PD class. So the cost of TV is pretty inexpensive nowadays. So like that one right there, you can buy it at Costco or Best Buy or even Walmart. So that one, because of Black Friday, it was under $500. So yeah, it's a pretty good opportunity for us compared with what they used to be.
Yeah.
So just trying to be smart about which ones. And we already have a bracket for it because when fifth grade was in there during COVID stuff, we ended up taking it off of there and repurposing it for elsewhere during the time. But then, we had talked with Mr. G and they said, yeah, if we could get one, that would be great. So we put them off for about a year. And then we felt like it was a good time to get some. Any other questions on the facility stuff too? We did have Mitch out to work on our furnace in the locker rooms. They finally working. We had him working with Troy had switched out the motor, but Mitch it didn't work all the way. Mitch came out on Friday and him and Troy got up in some crevices, I guess, and were able to get that working. So we have heat in the locker rooms and in the big gym area. So that was nice.
We'll move to item D, spotlight on education.
Honestly, we don't have a lot right now that's any different than last month. I mean, there's lots of good stuff that our kids are doing, et cetera, but right now there's just so many different things going on. A lot of which we've already covered, so I don't want to just say it right now. So.
All right, so we'll move to item C, new hires and resignations.
Do you want to do the resignation one first?
Sure, yeah. I think it's in different order though, isn't it? I see it somewhere different.
It's after the financial.
Yeah, it's 4C.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I see that, but I just didn't see the, oh, yeah, okay. So the resignation is Savannah Rowland from second grade. She's requested to not finish the year. She's got some other things going on. We've granted that, and we're sad to see her go. The kiddos, when they found out, were pretty disappointed, and we're pretty fortunate to be able to give them 3 weeks notice. Sometimes when you have some of those types of situations, the kiddos maybe not get as much notice. So they've had a good 3 weeks to really kind of move forward and understand that there's sometimes transitions that happen in the middle of the year, not just at the end of the year. And they're doing pretty well with it. Their families are doing well. She's sad to leave us, and we're sad to be losing her. But sometimes just how it goes. Any questions on that?
Do we have a long-term sub in mind?
So I have a sub in mind. However, I interviewed today, so we think we've got another plan in mind. And in the meantime, we've got a sub lined up in case.
Okay.
Just because of the break time and some different things like that.
It's all the kids are familiar with. So.
Yeah, really to kind of help that consistency and help those, the younger kiddos make that transition. So. All right, new hires. So Elizabeth Martin is joining us as an IA. She comes from a variety of different experiences, but most lately from Dallas. And she works a lot with our 4th and 5th grade students, but really all of our IAs can be at any part of the building at any time. But that's really kind of where she's more focused, and she's been with us for a few weeks now and doing well.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
okay. Move to item D, integrated guidance report.
What's that?
I thought we didn't remember that.
We did.
So I put this in front of you there. Again, I threw out a couple of pictures from ODE, or just omitted them, I should say. The two things that we have to report on are the two narrative questions, and then each quarter throughout the year we do an update on progress markers and then expenditures. So Cindy gets on her part, and then we have some narrative questions that we do at that time, which are short. Well, they're not very long, at least. And then this year, the annual report narrative 1 and 2. At the end of this year, or around this time next year, we'll have a third question that we are asked also, because it's the second year of the biennium for this project. So As you can see, review your progress markers and overall reflection responses and reflect on this plan implementation. How do you see your progress contributing to the outcomes and strategies? So they ask you to look at creating some outcomes that they want you to, that you're looking for in your school, as far as trying to decrease class size, trying to increase your reading, your math scores, etc. Are trying to get chronic absenteeism down. And then looking at that, and then looking at your LPGT. Remember those graphs I showed you folks at the other meeting? Those are those LPGT items. So that's why part of the reason why I showed you that graph before, so you had familiarity with it. So it says our district, including classified, certified administrators, and school board members, identified increased communication and family involvement as a priority over the past few years. I need to read this, by the way, if that's what I'm doing. We invested in a new website, increased social media use, and began using a new messaging system to communicate with our families. We hope this continued investment will pay dividends in both the short and long term, as well as we work on increased attendance, literacy strategies, and involvement with designing our path forward. With course offerings and opportunities based on student interest and need. Our initial investments with Literacy Grant have just occurred, but we're concerned with the low performance scores and are hopeful we can make more headway over the next few years. We have seen good growth on the ninth grade on track from 2020 through this past school year. We increased approximately 15%. We were perfect this last year during this time, utilizing our student success criteria. Bless you. To help extensively with credit recovery and operate courses during the summer in conjunction with Orbed. Our students have had the opportunity to earn credits that otherwise would have been missing in previous years. They also have opportunities to take these courses a second time in person if needed within the school day schedule as well. So that's if they were not on track, that is. So that was that first one. Obviously, our person with Maggie helps out with some of that community engagement activity stuff now as well, which that went really well. That's one thing. I don't know if some of you were able to make it that day, but our craft fair thing that we had that day was really great. Margaret and the other people that worked on it did a wonderful job on that. And it was, how many booths did we have? 30? 29, I think it was.
Upper 20s, yeah. I
Yeah, so I
remember
think
the final
right at
count.
30 booths and a variety of ones. Everything from permanent anklets and bracelets put on to, I don't even know.
3D printed things.
Dragons and
Yeah.
Yeah, the
dogs
kids, some of our students had booths there that they were doing with their families, but we had kind of professional craft fair people that were selling stuff there as well. Yeah, we had local people, but then also people from like Dallas, and so like Perrydale people, but then also Dallas, some Salem.
It's a
so
great mix.
it really was. So it was really well attended. And it sounds like a lot of people are coming back next year. We think we may be able to expand into possibly the other gym too, and have it be in both areas. So that'll be the goal at least. So look forward to seeing that again next year. And then annual report narrative number 2, where have you experienced barriers, challenges, and impediments to progress toward your outcomes and strategies in your plan, and that you could use support with? So the strategies are kind of the objectives for each of the goals, and the goals are called outcomes here. So we have been disappointed with our numbers for outcome D, which it has to do with chronic absenteeism. Traditionally, our attendance has been very strong in an area like our graduation rate, where we saw consistency from year to year. Over the past 2 years, we have seen higher numbers of chronic absenteeism at our school compared with previous years. We tried to address this in part at the high school level by increasing CTE elective opportunities and dual credit offerings to align better with student interests and career goals. During the first year of the increased offerings, this did not appear to have the desired impact as far as absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism, which is defined by the state as missing at least 10% of the school days, which in this case would be 15, was approximately 30% again for the 23-24 school year. I want to say real quick though, not the senior class last year, which oftentimes the seniors get senioritis. The seniors last year were actually a bright spot in that. So I do want to give kudos to that class. I'm not saying that because you're a classroom. So, but you do worry about that when you're going into a senior class. Illness, off-season vacations, and appointment schedules from providers. Leave the list for reasons for absences. These are not unexcused absences or skips by students, etc. Vacation time, costs, and provider work schedules as far as what days offices, medical offices may be open. Add to the potential barriers for families to try to overcome. Reality is vacations are limited sometimes by when parents can get time off work or the cost of those. We understand families need time together too, and so that sometimes leads to increased days gone. Try to work with families, but we understand that as well. So that does add to that chronic absenteeism by the state, that definition of it. And same thing again with appointments. Again, we understand the doctor's offices. We had a staff member today that couldn't get into their doctor. They need to see the specialist. They couldn't get in because doctor doesn't work on Monday. So they're gone on Mondays. So, and that's pretty common. I think we all know that. Providers aren't open on certain days. So you can only do what you can do.
So
So-
those things are included in the percentage? Okay, so no matter what the reason, if they're not
If they're not at school, yeah.
then it's okay.
So they basically say you can have 10% of your kids, they want you to be at least 90% of your kids. And this last year we were basically 70%. Some years in the past, we've been close to that 90%. We really looked at, okay, what is that breakdown and that cutoff? So that's something we're looking at. And then they have a project called Everyday Matters, which is trying to get some increase in attendance. So that's something we're going to be looking at implementing and trying to work with some of our families. We understand again that some families have vacations that if they're going to take one as a family, there may be certain times a year that they don't have a choice. We understand appointments. We understand some kids get sick, but we also have some kids that may be gone 30 days in a year. So that's probably more than they probably need to be. We understand again if somebody had a chronic issue like cancer or something like that, that would be different. So trying to work with those families and trying to get them here. That will increase probably their attendance. Obviously, it would increase, but it would increase their scores as well and success later on. And get them ready for the work world later on too.
Right.
And success later on. So
I think that is the work goal.
it is at the gas station on the north end by Wilco. I guarantee you that. The older guys only want to see some pump gas.
Show up to work, yeah.
Any questions on those two narratives? Thank you.
We'll move to item 6, consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Trying to be.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 7, we'll go back to items for board action, budget calendar. Cindy.
I noticed that I forgot to change all the dates on here, but I just went on and did that. So
Oh, no.
just down here, it said 24, 25,
Oh.
each of them.
Just
The years,
okay.
sorry, not the dates. The dates are fine,
Okay.
unless anyone wants to make any changes. So I have the first one, the 28th, which is the week after the board meeting. If you want it on the same night, that first one as the board meeting, then it would be training, budget, work session, board meeting, all in one night. Then that is fine. We can change it, but
It's not how we did it before.
I can't remember. I feel like
I
last year we did it.
Yeah.
Was it the same? I knew that we had a couple of them that were the same, and we do still have some that are the same. But the first one I thought was not on the same night.
We
But
did it last year because we thought maybe you might need the time training, but you really didn't need it last year.
right, and we will have. I think we have at least 2 open spots.
That's my question. How many open positions do we have this year?
I should have looked. We have at least 2, and I think there might be 3. At least 2.
Jordan.
Trying to see where I can. find that on my phone. Yeah, I have something that has their
Other dates.
yeah. So I can find that and let you know when I get to my computer. So we'll have at least 2 new ones
So the one
that
thing-
may or may not need.
The
Or
one thing
watch
I
training.
don't see on here was we have the deadline for end of business day to accept budget committee applications. When are we gonna,
That's the same.
when are we,
Appoint new budget committee members.
when are we going to post that we need those positions and start advertising and get that out? Obviously, we need to do it long before March 17th.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, I'll have to look at I haven't had any prior ones of these that had that date specifically on it. Yeah, so I'll have to look and see when. I know that there's got to be some sort of.
I guess what I'm saying is
Yeah.
I'd like us tonight as a board to maybe say, hey, let's set this as a goal to do that by,
Mhm.
because I went back and looked at my old ones and that's kind of been an inconsistency and a problem for us where all
Yeah.
of a sudden here we are, the deadline to accept applications. And we had 0, we really didn't do any
Yeah.
I mean, like if we,
communication.
I mean, we could start February 1st. Sometimes I feel like if it's too long of a time period, you lose people, but I don't know. That would be about a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking at least a month, so
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, so like the first week of February.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with doing
Yeah.
that? Okay.
I might put it on the website.
So like February 3rd would be the first Monday.
Sure.
Okay.
Since a new Canva coming our way from Vanessa, maybe.
Yeah, I know, I was gonna say.
I
Vanessa
get
might be
Canva
good.
and Canvas.
Yeah.
Every time someone says Canva, I'm like, online classes?
Right.
Canva and Canvas. I don't know the difference. So,
That's fair.
okay, so we're gonna post those on February 3rd. Okay,
Third is
So-
Monday.
Monday, February 3rd. Yeah, it's the first Monday. So unless anyone wants to change and have all of those things on the same board meeting night, that would make that Monday, April 28th. That would change it to Monday, the 21st. So there would be training, first budget meeting, work session, board meeting.
I'm okay with it being all in the same night.
Yeah, I think I'd rather
Okay,
do it.
so 21st.
Get it all done.
Okay. And then the second one, May 12th. Third is the same night as the board meeting, May 19th. And then, so those are 3 in a row if needed. And then the final one, well, budget hearing the same night as the June board meeting, June 16th.
June 16th.
Yeah. So there could potentially be 3 back to back
If we
back
need them.
if we need them.
19th is if needed, right?
Yeah, I mean they're anything past like the second one are if needed. Yeah. So other than that one changes, everything else beyond that look those dates. Okay.
This looks good.
Okay.
I move that we approve the budget calendar with noted changes.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Cindy. Okay, move to item 8, patron input. And so none, we'll move to item 9. We're going to executive session under ORS's 192-6602B to conduct deliberations of persons designated by a governing body for negotiations. And also, ORS 192-6602A, which is to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, individual agent. So we'll get you that adjournment time at the end. So executive session at 7:44.